It all began in January 2024. There's this video that's been floating around on the internet that makes me lose it pretty much every single time I see it. It's this looping video of a teeny tiny Choso Kamo running up to his baby brother, Yuji Itadori, as fast as his little legs are gonna take him. I'm not entirely sure where or when I first stumbled into it. Let's be honest, probably on Discord. I had definitely assumed that it was some sort of short gameplay footage for Jujutsu Kaisen Cursed Clash in collaboration with a new merch line. Maybe this was just a weird advertisement or something, I don't know. Probably just some sort of teeny tiny skin. Fortnite does those things, right? I wouldn't find out till much later that this was actually a fan animation by someone named HojiXYZ_ on Twitter, but by the time it had happened, it didn't matter. Something had taken hold of me. And whatever that something was, I wanted it. There's a single thing HojiXYZ and I have in common. It is that there is something about this one Jujutsu Kaisen character who has only been in like 5 episodes of the anime so far that makes us go absolutely feral. Unfortunately, there is no record of when I first encountered what would eventually be dubbed by myself and my close friends as Choso Autism, Microorganism Choso, and the one that would eventually stick, Choso Plushie. I want this fucking thing so bad. I know it's like 3 inches tall. It was likely paired with something that sounded like so cute. And I have to throw him in a volcano, guys. It's the only way. I assumed, like all hyperfixations, that this would just be a brief blip on my radar, just a charming little gif that I stumbled across and would use as a reaction image on occasion. If only I could have been so lucky. Research and the harassment of my more knowledgeable older brother on these kinds of topics led to a couple of important revelations for me. This is autism shot directly into my bloodstream. Why must my special interest do this to me? 1. This was not just an animation of a plushie of Choso, but a very specific kind of animation of a plushie called a Nui. A Chopa Nui, to be specific. Why the fuck is Choso plushie so cute? They want me to suffer. 2. This isn't just a model of a hypothetical Nui. This thing actually exists out there as a piece of merchandise that you, yes, you, can buy. I'd only ever seen these single-celled organisms in pictures before, mostly in VTubing communities, and I wasn't the first that had been caught in their clutches. Oh no. Those few who are lucky enough to own one seem to become endowed with an affliction that can only be remedied by dressing them in cute little outfits and taking them out on a big night on the town. And the more I learned about these little beasts, the more the fervor grew by the day. I didn't just want Choso Plushie. I needed Choso Plushie. It wasn't even a matter of how I would get my hands on this creature. Right now it was a matter of where. I've bought merch online before, of course, but before I'd learned what the names of these minuscule bobbleheads were, I was just desperately plugging in the words Choso Plushie JJK on every online retailer and seeing what would stick. Nothing on Amazon. A blessing. eBay eventually turned up results, and yet...
That's the cutest fucking thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
When I came to from my Nui-induced rampage, I knew this wasn't going to be as simple as my other online purchases. I wasn't a newcomer to buying Japanese merch, and rare merch at that, but this was a different matter. All I could do was repeat my past methods and hope for the best. The next step, naturally, was to check proxy sites. While eBay is convenient for buying things secondhand at what is usually a reasonable price, it's a different story for certain kinds of merch. Especially rare merch that you have to get shipped out of Japan. Since the demand is high but the supply is so low, you can pretty much get away with charging whatever you want, and thus comes in the scalpers. Now I know why the 8th and 9th circles of hell are meant for thieves and traitors. Proxy sites, though, both solve one problem while adding onto another. If you know how to use them right, they are your best and, in some cases, only chance of getting what you so desperately desire. If we can compare it to eBay for a moment, think of it like this. The person listing the item you want on eBay has went through all the trouble of tracking down the item and shipping it to America. They had two options, either literally flying out to Japan or having someone ship it from there to receive it, or doing exactly what we're about to do now. Proxy sites like Mercari or From Japan act as the middleman between Japanese buyers and you, communicating what you want and shipping the item overseas to you. You're not completely safe from any scalping shenanigans using this method, but if you're trying to find a piece of merch that seems to be sold out anywhere else you look, I'm telling you, these sites are going to be your best tool. They're not easy to intuit at first, and that's why this video is not sponsored. But just as an example of how much grief it'll save you, one of my friends had been looking for a Miike figurine from Attack on Titan for ages and had said that they were close to giving up on figuring out if anyone was willing to sell it. I found it for them in all of 5 minutes using this method. Click on a piece of merch, any piece of merch pertaining to a series, or to really narrow it down, the character you want to find of said series that you want to buy. Find what the original listing's name was in Japanese and copy the kana for what would be the most helpful out of that into the search bar. This is a lot easier if you know how to read Japanese and or have a Japanese keyboard computer. Rinse and repeat until you find the product that you're looking for. I've been able to find some extremely specific things using this exact method, from original sketches of manga pages to one anniversary version of a Blu-ray box set for a language I don't speak, just so I could buy the cards that came with the DVDs in the box set, and then mail half of those cards to someone in England so I could trade the ones they wanted for the ones I wanted. And all that to get one specific card out of it. Compared to experiences like that, you'd think the process of buying a simple, single plushie would be easy. And yet... okay. Hey, hang on. Are they seriously selling him for 13 bucks? Does it have the... With the blindfold? As you can see, that's how part of me expected it to be. But you see, dear viewer, there is one thing I forgot to account for during this search. One thing I always forget to account for, because part of me expects everyone else in the world to be as obsessed with this character as I am. Anime recency bias. While Jujutsu Kaisen's manga run is completely finished, the same can't be said for the anime. For something that's lauded as having an industry-leading quality of animation, even relatively short shows like Jujutsu Kaisen take quite a bit of time to produce, and the last season reached the story's halfway point. Choso was barely reintroduced as a character, and while his minimal screen time provided one of the best fights in the series, no, I will not be arguing this point, and a visceral setup for his importance going forward, he does only show up for a handful of episodes, and I can see why some of the anime-onlys still might be having a hard time pinning down his character just from that alone. Therefore, all the best merch for him hasn't made its way to America yet. When Season 3 drops, it's going to be Chosover, but for now, you're lucky if you can find something nice for him that isn't stupid expensive. So what can you do in this situation? You give up.
Don't look at me!
You yearn. For over a year, You bookmark all the websites you can find this thing on, and you peruse them whenever you want to just feel a little bit more broke. Someday, I will hold this thing, and I will kiss the top of its big forehead, and I will cherish it like it deserves, because it is Choso, and Choso is the character ever, and I love him, but not today. And you keep looking for something. A price drop, maybe. A discount. A coupon code. Well, that's not exactly the sign you wanted, but after this point, you'd be a certified fool if you continue to wait. I love Choso. I love how expressive he is because he's never learned or been taught how to feel shame. I love that he has such a strong silhouette that you'd be able to pick him out even if he changed his clothing style instantly. How he shares a voice actor in the English dub with Sukuna, and that unintentionally says a lot about the duality of the series. I love the thought of being able to introduce him to alt styles and drag him out for a shopping spree in Harajuku, and how seriously he takes his role as an older brother. How his inexperience at being alive never crosses the line into straight up innocence. He never apologizes for the harm he caused when he was fighting on the other side, and I think that makes him a far more appealing character than if he was just a little ooh-woo baby who just doesn't know any better. He's a good, complicated man who loves his brothers very much, and it doesn't matter what he does as long as he's able to keep them safe. Maybe it's because of an older brother that you are who you are. If the older brother takes the wrong path, the younger brothers can avoid it. And if I take the right path, my little brothers can follow behind. What if you're strong because your older brothers are weak? You asked me why I'm tough. I'll tell you. It's because I didn't have someone to guide me, so I kept making mistakes. I must walk ahead of my little brothers. That's why I'm strong. I don't know what to tell you. This is the character ever. He's Big Brother. He's goth. He's autism. He's got a little keychain and big tired eyes. You have no choice. You have to buy the stupid $100 plushie. Oh my god, that is an absurdly reasonable price, all things considered. Gimme. But, you don't get paid until next week. Give me! After what felt like months of waiting, he finally arrived. I welcomed my little guy into my life with a nourishing meal, some entertainment, and a cozy spot to sit before slowly introducing him to the rest of my collection. Being able to finally hold him in my hands was strange. I was expecting him to be small, but this guy really lived up to the title of microorganism. He's very easy to lose because he loves to explore so much, so I have to be sure to keep an eye on him in case he gets a little too curious and ends up wedged between my mattress and my pillows. And yet, he fits perfectly in my palm. I don't think there's anything else you really need from a plushie after that. I've got a good handful of Jujutsu Kaisen merch by now. Some of the physical manga, most of which just being my favorite Gojo and Choso scenes. A t-shirt my girlfriend gifted me, a Satoru Gojo plushie that I love to death but does not match Choso at all. Oh well, guess I just need to keep an eye out for something that does have Choso's autistic appeal. Does anybody else hear music?
To live without you, what kind of life would that be? Oh, and I need you in my arms, need you to hold. You're my world, my heart, my soul. If you ever leave, baby, that would take away everything good in my life.
guess I fixed that problem. I'm sure I'll be seeing more Jujutsu Kaisen merch in my shopping cart in the future, but for now, the need has been sated. I have my funny creatures. You do know that there is a cat Choso plushie, and there's also a Yuji one, so he doesn't have to be lonely. Not now! With that being said, have a nice day, and don't buy merch if you can't afford it. Jesus Christ, the only reason I did this was because I finally had a semi-consistent paycheck. Money can't buy happiness, but it definitely can feed your special interests. And the Gojo is real happy pride, everyone!
And in between some really analytical narrative deep dives, he just drops this fucking video about wanting to kiss Choso Kamo of Jujutsu Kaisen. How do I live without you? I wanna know. How do I breathe without you? I wanna know. How do I ever survive?